Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going through PowerShell loops. There's various different kind of loops to go through, so let's jump straight back into it. We're going to be using the same file that we used before, which is users.csv, and we're going to be starting off with the for loop. So the for loop is just going to loop through the data a certain amount of times. So as you can see here, similar to what we did before, clear host, reading the file. We're initiating the number there that we're going to use, but to be honest, we can get rid of that. Don't need it because we're setting it up here. So we're setting the number as 0. We're going to loop through where the number is less than or equal to the amount of records in the file that we just read in. And then every time we go through it, we're going to increment the number coming through. So that's remember the number is the iterations going through, the amount of times that we're running through. So I'll click play on that, and you can see that it's looped through and displayed the data. So the displaying of the data is inside the curly brackets. So that's how many times it's gone through. So every time it goes through, it displays the data. Put a breakpoint on there so we can see what's going on, and press play again. So this is the first time through. So num will be set to what it was last time, which was 6. And I'm just going to press F10 to go through each line. So each line goes through. We've set num to 0 there. Remember, it's 0 based. And we're going to have a look at the first one there, Bob Hope. And we're going to write that out to the screen, like so. And it's literally going to write each one out to the screen until it reaches what the count is, -1, because we don't want to go over the end because it's 0 based. So that's the first part done. Quite simple. You're literally going through a certain amount of times and doing whatever you need to do in between your curly brackets. So I'll remove the breakpoint. And these bits commented out here, it's just a way of displaying information in a different way. So I'll press play on that. At the bottom, I've just written the information out literally as it is. So I've looked at first name, last name, email and phone, because they're the headers on my file. And it is just my file, the index, which in this case is the loop number for num. So it's displaying them. You can even bring that in. If you look at my file on here, you can display it that way, or you can go, right, I'm going to look at the first record, which is 0, that one. And I'm going to take it a step further and do first name. So there we go. That's your for loop done. Let's have a look now at the ForEach loop. So as before, we're clearing the host and reading the file in, but this time it's going to be for each record. So we've got my file there, and all it's going to do is read each line into $user. So $user will contain one record of one line of the CSV file. So if we run it through, it's a similar formatting that we've been dealing with before. Just going to put a breakpoint on there, toggle breakpoint, and hit play. So we can see when we ran the data through before, we have got data actually in $user because we've not initialized it to null, so to nothing really. But as we run through this, we can get our first line in there, and that's our first user. Second user in there, and so on. So if I just hit F5 there, they'll all come in there. I'll remove the breakpoints, and I'll just unhighlight this bit so you can just compare the two. Just hit F5 on that to run it. So that's our previous stuff that's above it. So here we can see that we're doing the display for each header within each user. I've put some spaces in there to push it all together, but it depends on the data that's in the file really. That's your ForEach loop done. Let's now have a look at the while loop. So as before, we're clearing the host and reading the file in, but a little bit different now. We're going to set a counter to 0, and we're going to use that counter in the loop itself. So while the counter is less than the amount in the file, so the amount of records in the file, and then it's going to do the bits in the curly brackets, which is just display it using Format-List. So I'll run it through, similar output to what we've seen before. Breakpoint on, toggle a breakpoint, hit play, it stops on that point. Counter is set to 0, and I'm just going to F10. So the counter is still less than the 6 records that we've got in there. We're just going to display it The counter is still less. So 2, 3, and as you can see, it's building it up. Continue it all the way through, and it displays it all there. So there you have it, that's the while loop. I'll just show you, like before, highlight these out, put these back in. We'll remove all the breakpoints. We'll hit play on that. So just as we were doing before, so in other words, like all loops, you've got your condition there, and we're writing it out there. The only difference is with this, I've put a right host with the headers on there because it's only going to display the data within this right host, and we're incrementing the counter. So as before, we're incrementing it. That'll go up by 1 every time it goes through the loop, and that's your while loop's done. Last but not least, we're going to look at website of the video. Today's is scholar.google.com. This is where you can look up other people's articles, see what other people have written about things, not to copy of course. So here we are, we've got this guy who's done playing the past, and he's got loads of content on there for you to have a look at. So anyway, enjoy, we'll catch you on the next video. Catch you later, bye.